How I'm going to pick this sacred, special representing flag off the ground, okay? Because a lot of men and women fought for our freedoms, for our First and Second and Fourth Amendments and the 10th Amendment and all that stuff. So, you know, like, these are just men and women that are dressed in uniforms saying, this is the law, that's the law. Well, who do you think wrote the laws? Okay, and who do you think manipulated and construed the law to say, okay, for a piece of plastic, we're going to beat you up and be justified for not obeying our orders, which are based on subservience. We're going to beat you up and rip you out of your car and do stuff like that. So you know what? You're actually violating the things that our forefathers and our veterans have fought for. Okay, and you know, why don't you just say, okay, we have your license plate. If you're not wanting to comply with my roadside piracy, we're just going to send you something in the mail, and when you go to renew your insurance or registration, there'll be a charge on there that you have to pay because, you know, you didn't meet some kind of financial criteria in an economy that's not guaranteed, in a workforce and work environment that's not guaranteed either to have security. So there should be no like touching people, ordering them around, or even pulling them over in many circumstances. And the fact that you feel justified to do that, and then when somebody starts saying, hey, my constitutional and civil rights, and the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, and the Emancipation Proclamation, and all that stuff, you're like, oh, sovereign citizen, constitutionalist, you're a bad person, right? You know what? We need change. And those are just men and women out there that are just like you and I, dressed in uniform, though, that are actually cracking on us. And this is where we have problems, because if they have a personal attitude problem, it's our problem. If they're not getting laid, or they have stressful bills, or they don't have enough hair on their head, or they're overweight, or they have indigestion, or they're fighting with their family members, or they have a stub toe and it bothers them, or they don't like the music that's on the radio or something political, it becomes our problem. And you know what? This is America's problem. And for police and other people and lawyers and attorneys just to be like, well, this is the law. Well, who do you think wrote the law? Okay, God came down or materialized in the older ages just to bless the older people with God's word and presence and sense of goodness. And now all of us have to obey you based on, you know, the fact that we're not allowed to have God in our lives because the forefathers are over us in the word that was manipulated by you people that are walking around with badges and guns and shit. And you know, this is the problem. And people want to call me a cop hater. No, I hate oppression. I hate unfairness. And the Constitution states we have a right to a fair contract. Okay? And you know what? There's a social contract that goes with being an American. And the social contract is not to touch people, okay, not to lock people up and rip them out of their cars for something like a piece of plastic license or a registration or a title that isn't like fortified by the state, but yet the vehicle isn't stolen. And you know, we've lived here for 20 or 30 years or even 5 or 10. And you know, you have an address and fingerprints and face recognition for us. But yet, if we don't have a piece of paper, you feel justified to incapacitate us? No, it's not right. You're conducting commerce. So you know what? People like me, we pick flags like this up off the ground, okay, from the broken trees, and we want to grow strong roots because you people are not doing your job. You're actually, you know, you're coming across like pirates. And like I said, when somebody mentions civil or constitutional rights, you have an issue with that. And, you know, your family gets upset, too. Like, oh, no, my Johnny boy cop is not doing anything bad. Okay, well, he copped an attitude because someone felt that the situation was unfair. So instead of dealing with it like a grown man and somebody with integrity and you know, respect that they want for themselves, they decide to beat you up. And now state's attorneys and clerks are all going to agree with it and run you through a process of exhaustion and tyrants. You know, like tyrants. So it's not right. It's just not right, you know, and people say, oh, you know, you're upset. No, I'm not. I could talk about this shit for years straight, men and women, and I've been working outside today, so I'm huffing and puffing, but, you know, I think about this stuff, and when people want to contrast me and call me things, yeah, you know what, I answer back. I'm not just going to say, well, let me not look like I'm upset by not discussing it. You know, oh, if I answer and talk about it too long, they're going to assume I'm upset. Oh, if I use a curse word, they're going to consider it fucking aggression. You know, oh, if I roll my eye or I speak with my hands, we're going to have to detain him because I'm feeling fucking threatened. Dude, you guys are being the problems, and you don't understand what communism is about. You don't understand what fascism and dictatorship is about, and how it turns into a sense of communism where people don't have choices. And if you think you're special and that you could protect your family, it's not true, because your family has to live in this, and you can't protect everybody, and you know, not everybody's going to protect you from it. So all these things that I'm saying could come back and actually be affecting you at some point if you're wearing a badge, if you're working for the state or the government. And you need to start having some respect, because your life expectancy is not guaranteed that you're going to survive with the cloak of protection and immunity that you think it does for you. And if I was wrong, there wouldn't be riots in the street right now. And the power to people is great. And you could say, oh, we got weapons, we have jails, we have associations, we have everybody's number. You know, we have anonymous and encloaked incognito images online where we can surf around and pinpoint these people because we're doing operations and we're running investigations and we have guns to protect us. Yeah, buddy, yeah. You know, you think you're all like strong. You're actually like playing guns and cops and robbers like kids. And the only thing about it is, like, when kids play cops and robbers and good guy, bad guy, they decide, okay, you're going to be the bad guy and I'm going to be the good guy. And you know what? The other people really didn't do anything bad, you know, but you're stuck in this mentality that you're playing games with our lives and you're acting like children out there. And then when, you know, you get futile and like adolescent when somebody says, wait a second, that's violating our rights. No, it's not. This is the law. Okay, who wrote the law? A man or a woman. Okay, what are you? A man or a woman? What am I, a man or a woman? Okay, I guess, well, unless somebody's bleeding, somebody's crying, somebody lost something, I think you should stay the fuck out of our lives. And then there won't be no problems. And if it's an administrative charge and nobody did the right work to secure their rights and accept their rights, then you know what? Send them something in the mail or tax something else within the city or state, you know, that okay, they're going to have to pay this or else they won't be able to continue to do this or receive. But don't be ripping people out of their cars because they're not showing you ID. That's fucking bullshit, dude. It's got to stop. And you know what? For all the people that say, oh, well, that's the law. You know, there's people on my side that are afraid of you. You use intimidation. You use bullying. You use threats and belligerence to, like, fortify your way. And when all else fails, you put your hand on your gun and you grab your cuffs. And all the rest of it is like, well, wait a second. We are correct here, and now the situation's escalated, and we're not going to make money, and, you know, if we are wrong, we might get, you know, reprimanded, or might get some kind of duty doing our job that we don't want to do, or get fired, or, you know, the city might have to pay because of our actions. So let's continue to press upon these people and to the point where they have to forfeit their rights and just give up. That's not the way it is anymore. You know, it's not the way it's going to continue to be. And if I'm wrong, we wouldn't be rioting in the streets. You guys wouldn't have to make your own flags. Oh, blue lives matter too. Well, guess what? All lives matter as far as I'm concerned. I don't care who you are. And the American flag speaks for everybody. You know, and it's just people that are in offices that are saying, okay, you know, you have to follow our rules because the Constitution says that you have to obey these laws. Well, dude, the Constitution is made by people. And, you know, by this constitutional standards, you're actually offending us. And if you apply the Constitution to you, you're the criminal. So therefore, it comes time that, okay, you've breached the contract of fairness through the Constitution, so now we don't have to listen to you anymore, and you don't have jurisdiction or authority over us, and we're going to charge you federally with criminal charges. But you're going to put up a fight because you got a chain of connection of racketeering and red tape in a scheme, a pyramid scheme that exists within the courts that look at people as property. And that ain't happening no more, you know, and we need education out there. We need knowledge and awareness. And we need the cops to stop cracking down and threatening, intimidating people because they say, wait a second, my civil and constitutional rights Oh, well, you know what? That sounds in my code book that defines a sovereign citizen or a constitutionalist, which isn't me, by the way. So I consider this a threat. I'm going to have to use extreme force to subdue this person or kill them. You know what? Scumbags. Fucking scumbags if you do that. And you got the point of today to say, okay, does that apply to me? Am I like that? Okay, would I do that in that situation? So take today as a new day, okay? You fucked up in the past. You acted like a little baby bastard with a little privilege with your little tiny badge and gun. And you know what? I would save a cop if I had the opportunity, if he was in trouble or she was in trouble. You know, just as same as I would call them if I was in trouble, because I respect, and I don't believe in defunding the police, but you guys need to fucking get your shit straight and start using the real American flag, because you don't make America. You know, Americans make America, okay? You make a police state and a military state. And, you know, to have your own flag shows that you're not Americans. Well, we're so American, we could take the American flag and black it out with black and gray and then put our blue stripe in there, and that represents us because we're the whole essence and heart of America. No, you're not. Get the fuck over it. And if you can't work together, you're going to find yourself becoming smaller in accepted numbers. And you know what? There's people that are in towns that have like militias and shit, and more power to them. You know, if it's their area and they're used to things a certain way and I visit, that's fine. I'll comply to a degree, not to upset them and to be able to have a nice experience. But when you drive around in your tax-paid emergency vehicles, all armed to the hilt and, you know, with connections, and say, well, wait a second, we're going to spread our ways to everybody around us and you must comply because we're coming in your life and in your neighborhood now. That's terrorism. It's American terrorism. So wake up. You got a choice to make, folks. You know, use that badge as a privilege. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. So it's time to fucking grow up and start being responsible Americans about it and respect the rest of us so you can get the respect you deserve. That's what I'm talking about. You know why? Because we're watching. And there's nothing you're going to do about that. You like, you know, conspiracy theories? Here's your fucking triangle. Here's your eyeball with stars in the middle. The stars are us Americans watching you. That's right. Like a pyramid. We're watching you. All the stars and our forefathers. We're going to save our forefathers. You have been notified.